Vice President Vance was on this program a number of times, and one of them when he was still a senator. I spoke to him about his views on higher education. He's an Ohio State alum undergrad. And he said he believes universities, he wasn't speaking of yours, but he said universities are controlled by left-wing foundations and they're going in the wrong direction. Do you think he has a point?
I think higher education has started to build that reputation, and you can even see that in the Gallup Lumina polls. You know, I was the superintendent of the Naval Academy from 2014 to 2019. You know, and that Gallup poll in 2015 said that nearly 60% of Americans had high confidence in post-secondary education. Now go ahead and just move that needle 9 years forward, and yet 2 in 3 Americans said they did not have confidence in higher education. That's a really bad mark. Americans were saying higher education costs too much. They were saying that the return on investment was difficult to prove. They were even saying some of the research being done may not have impacted them or their families. And yes, there was this conversation about the potential indoctrination of students, or that institutions were leaning very liberal. You know, we as administrators of higher education maybe ought to listen to the American public and say, maybe we haven't always gotten it right. So I'm here to say, here at The Ohio State University, we have paid attention to that. We are making efforts to make affordability a key issue for students. I mentioned that graduating class, 57% of those undergraduates left with zero debt. And the other 43% that left with debt was less than $24,000. And as we look across, you know, our hiring practices, I have 8,500 faculty. That is the best group of faculty I have ever worked with in my 12 years in leading in higher ed, and that's saying quite a bit. Well, I will tell you that as we hire the future, we're looking across the entire political spectrum for who we hire.
On that point, you talked about what happened at the state level. The Republican-controlled state legislature passed a law that eliminates the diversity programs, does a number of things, but it also requires professors to post their course syllabi online and their contact information. Do you think that this is meant to intimidate? Are you concerned? Is your faculty concerned about the focus on what they're doing?
Yes, I have talked to our faculty, through our faculty senate and our leadership. There are some concerns, of course, because we've not done that before. We've got some time before we implement that. We have put all the pieces of Senate Bill 1, which is the General Assembly's bill here in the state of Ohio, into implementation phase. We're still working through some of the details, but let me tell you, the principles of academic freedom, what is taught in the classroom, the move towards scholarly pursuit, the research that we do here at Ohio State, those are things that we are still very passionate about. And I know that we're going to continue that work, and yet we'll still follow the law. We'll still follow some of the federal policies that are coming out. We're ready and prepared to do all of that.
To that point, you saw what Columbia University did this week in paying the $200 million fine to settle their dispute with the Trump administration. They also agreed to an outside monitor to assure the school complies with stamping out diversity programs. Does this precedent trouble you? I mean, would you take a deal like that?
Well, I can't speak to those institutions because I'm not leading them. I know both President Shipman and some of the other Ivy League presidents are colleagues, and they're having to do, I think, what I would call be in survival mode. Quite frankly, we're not going through any of that here at Ohio State. And nor do I think that we will. I mean, obviously, we have a new state law. We're a public institution, so that means we're going to be transparent and put out everything that we do so that the state of Ohio, the people, and the entire country can see it.
We will watch to see what happens.